Okay, here we go. Put the bolt back in, open this up, just a quick few seconds. I don't take all of this mess apart to get the belts off. You have to get the cage off. You can actually just roll this around. It's hard to do in neutral with one hand and a camera in the other, but see how that starts to fall off? I've had a lot of people or seen them post, how do you change the belt? What do I have to do? That's how fast it goes. Then all I have to do is put the next one around this, start it around, give it a little turn, make sure it doesn't hook on this lip on the bottom of the inside belt cover, and pull the bolt out, spin it. That's what I'm about to do, and I'll show you the new ratio on this machine. Okay. Give this a little bit of a turn. Use the primary to start coming out. Haven't lost any weights, or the secondary turning. Haven't had the primary come apart and all that rattling. So you can hear the thing getting tighter and the belt's starting to squeak. It's really coming in. Once I get it to that point, I don't have a big concern about starting the motor. The concern that others have is that if you don't have the cage holding this shaft from wobbling, that it can actually cause damage on the one way. I'm sure that's happened to others. I'm just going to fire this thing up just to spin it to get enough tension on it so that I can actually count the felt ratios. Right there. I've got an indexing mark here for that fin. I'm going to use its one bolt and the next big fin away from this mark. Kind of a redneck way to count it, but with a camera in my hand I don't want to get a Sharpie out. So there's one and two. We're coming around and mark, bolt, first big vein on my indexing mark, and I have almost a quarter of a turn on the secondary to go. We'll just keep spinning this thing. It's this mark between these bolts. Coming around. Holy moly. Must have done something different. I got a lot better ratio. That, guys, is over a 3.5. I'll have to get back with you just to see what happens. Went ahead and turned the camera back on after I counted the fins. This thing is a 3.75 to 1 ratio. I need to go back and look at my notes. I might have actually put in one extra shim for the 3.5, put in 2.5 instead of 1.5 millimeters. That's how easily you can stumble onto these greater pulley ratios. And once you start getting big happens really fast with not too much additional input to the primary. There's been discussion on belt rub. I get a few PMs and people asking questions. I took a couple pictures of the cover and I send those. Well, this is what I think I need to show everybody. When you slide back around in here, you can start to see the thinness of this cover right in here. This is all that you're working with for the seal to be on. What I'm going to have to do with this now, that I've stumbled upon this 3.75, trying to show you a 3.5. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ease this cover back on. Actually, what I'm going to really have to do is find out what caused it, and I need to go to from a 3.5 to a 3.6 to a 3.7. Then I'll put this ratio back in there. One of the things that I've started doing, and I know you got to clean the grease after you get done, is I just go ahead and put water in this thing. The 660, I can just pour it down the hood. I fill this thing up so that when this belt starts to turn slowly, in fact, when it barely starts to turn is when the belt's rubbing. Once you get this thing up to speed and that belt drops in the secondary, the belt ceases to rub. So what I've decided a month or two ago decided to do was I just go ahead and put water in this cover so that this belt picked it up when it was turning. That way I didn't get a hot spot like a red cherry in metal where the belt would eventually drag plastic out and create a hole. What I do is I blip it, let it turn, and hold it, suck up some water. I don't worry about the belt picking it up, it's the pulley sheaves. Sling that around and keep that plastic cool. I don't know if it works or not, but I've created an awful lot of rubbing in the cover, and I haven't burned a hole in one yet. I have run the 3.5, you guys have seen that on a previous video. This is going to take me the rest of the afternoon to take this apart, figure out, go through my notes, find out what I did, drop this back down, get the belt back in here so that I can creep up on it, and here, let me see if it works out and I can get the cover on it. I'm going to go ahead and I'll make one small run on this machine showing you what a 3.5 does. This is not a ratio that I recommend for anybody running stock axles like I am. I've already broke one. The machine got rolled up on the right rear corner with all the pressure on it, and I hit the gas and snapped the axle. I don't know how big axle it takes to counteract something like this. Mostly this is for you guys that are wanting to go to the whatever 28, 29, 30, 31 inch tires and need this type of deflection. You don't need a 600 sheave. You don't need a Suzuki belt. All you need is a little bit of machining. I use coupe. Throw in what shim you can. If you can't get in enough, you might have to modify the cage a little bit. Watch out for the splines and then creep up on it slowly so that you don't end up taking all of this material out at one time, creating a hot spot, dragging a hole in the cover. Get this put on YouTube. Hope this all helps. I'll probably have to shoot this again, but through the PMing messaging system, we'll figure out where I need to work on this, and we'll get one of these things right for the new members. We can just put this up. We don't have to type a lot of responses.